Welcome to this special episode of SDR News Live. I'm Andy McCaskey from SDR News. And you know, it's rare that we have a chance to bring someone on the program that has the depth of our next guest. Starting out with IDG and InfoWorld, Yankee Group, ZDNet, a whole realm of professional publications over many, many years. Welcome to Dana Gardner.
Well, thank you, Andrew. Good to be here.
Well, it's really good to have you here, and Andrew just seems really long, so Andy will work just fine.
Very good.
Well, I understood that you had a chance to have a little bit different experience at HP Discover. You've been talking with a number of folks who have been there, and a lot of that has been related to formal demonstrations or coffee talks or product demonstrations. But your approach and responsibilities at HP Discover are a little bit different, eh?
Yeah, you know, I had a chance to not only hear the HP story and get a lot more depth and understanding of their strategy, but I spoke with literally over a dozen different customers. People are actually using these technologies that are dealing with the change in their own enterprises. So I got to really see Discover through the eyes of the actual end user, and that's very enlightening.
Do you think that people's impressions have changed in recent years as far as HP's responsiveness, level of responsiveness to the market?
I do. I saw quite a bit of confidence and understanding of where HP is going, and I think that's been a challenge for them over the past 3 or 4 years, but things seem to have come together. I'm also noticing that the direction of the market has actually aligned quite well with where HP has set itself up to be. That is to say, HP is skating to where the hockey puck is going to be in enterprise issues and trends. And that's wasn't something I actually saw even as recent as 2 years ago. And I saw that the customers are realizing that as well. There's been a transition, there's been change across the industry. HP has changed a lot as well. But for those customers that are still there, that are hanging in, I think they all feel now that HP is understanding their needs, and there's a greater sense of confidence and ease, I think.
Well, there's certainly been a tremendous amount of emphasis on this notion of converged infrastructure, the transition to cloud, and then of course dedicated products like the Moonshot server. Which do you think is the most significant strategic direction that HP has been a pioneer in?
Well, I don't know that they've been a pioneer in it, but I do think that their emphasis on data and analysis and relating the use of data into the other important areas that they are involved with, from hardware infrastructure to software infrastructure to test and DevOps, performance management, and of course delivering the data analysis out to the end user through a variety of different endpoints. But to me, the core of what we're seeing now and what some people refer to as Platform 3.0 is this ability to use data much more rigorously and to forecast and analyze what any business is up to in near real time, regardless of the size and type of data, and then make that analysis available to many more people in the organization, and then allow them to actually manipulate the data to their needs. This is, to me, the big new value and will increase the productivity for many more enterprises around the globe. And I think HP understands this and is well positioned and is both acquiring companies and investing in R&D to allow these companies to progress to this point where it's not just a single product or a single technology, it's how they come together to enable a much more, I guess, responsive and productive kind of company.
I want to have to put you on the spot a little bit. Did you see this when HP went on the acquisition path that brought Autonomy into the fold? Did you see this coming?
I did. I was familiar with Autonomy, I have to say, back when it was a startup and based in San Francisco, and I had a couple of chats with Mike Lynch because our offices at InfoWorld were literally across the street in San Francisco. So I'm very familiar with Autonomy, and I understood that their background in defense and intelligence technologies in the UK were being brought to a business, and this unstructured data, any kind of information, and then very innovative types of inference that you can draw from that, and then comparing and contrasting that to other types of analysis. I was a big fan of autonomy. I don't know that I can agree with the process behind the acquisition or some of the issues that came up as a result of the actual transaction, but the strategy and the technology are spot on, do differentiate HP and work really well in conjunction with their other data capabilities as well as the marketplace. So this whole Haven initiative to me was very interesting. It is a matter of the whole greater than the sum of the parts when it comes to the types of data and then the inference you can draw across many different types that all need to be brought to bear if you're going to actually have a data-driven business that can be accurate and responsive.
In your podcast that you recorded during the event, did you discuss this with this Haven offering with any prospective customers?
Absolutely. We spoke with a couple of telcos and mobile providers, T-Mobile and EE among them. We spoke with Guess, which is a retailer best known for its jeans line and other clothing. They're all looking to Vertica and increasingly thinking about bringing autonomy into the mix as well to gain much greater insight into what their markets are telling them, their supply chain is telling them, what their own internal IT systems are telling them, so bringing ArcSight type of technologies to bear. But they're also not just thinking about one type of data, one business intelligence tool set, one set of query types for a single variety of scientists or technical professional. They're really thinking about making data widely available, ubiquitous in the organization. They understand that the technology is in the infrastructure is there to process and manage and store and create a life cycle benefit around this data and information. But now is the time for them to start exploiting it. And they're being very aggressive, and they understand how they can predict their market and their customer needs and know where the business growth is going to be well in advance of their competitors if they do this properly.
Okay, but anytime that you introduce a new product, you're going to have early adopters that will go ahead and grab a hold of that. And then you have that famous chasm before the early majority comes on. Do you think HP is going to be able to smoothly move this product forward, or do you think there'll be a notch in the adoption?
Well, I think there's always a spectrum of adoption, but I would disagree a little bit with the big data and analysis and business intelligence issues. These have been around for a long time. People have been gathering data, warehousing data, analyzing the data, creating the infrastructure to do a variety of types of queries, reports, adhere to their audits and regulatory requirements. What we're seeing now is not a total innovation around data. What we're seeing now is a democratization or a consumerization of this data and bringing these very powerful tools of analysis to bear on more than just the quarterly reports or the essential types of marketing or focus group types of activities. We're starting to bring this now to what IT does with performance management, to what accounting and HR can do with finding the right candidates for jobs. We're bringing in data from much more of a variety of outside sources, not just the internal systems or the internal data, not just the structured data. So I don't know that this is necessarily a typical innovator's dilemma type of a curve. I think what we're seeing now is just a ratcheting up of the value of data. We put into place a lot of the systems. Now is the time to bring it to bear on more types of business issues, make it available to more individuals inside the company, and then also bring in more types of data and information from across their community, well outside their own borders.
Well, I know that both at the National Association of Broadcasters, that show, and here at HP Discover, we had a chance to see pulling in data from all sorts of sources, particularly social media. And that's a field of interest and a specialization that is a part of your practice. Can you tell us a little bit about your work there?
Sure. Yeah, I kind of recognized back when I was an analyst at the Yankee Group that the ability to distribute content was much broader and the price points had come down a lot. This was back in 2004. So I saw the opportunity to publish faster, better, cheaper than had ever been done before. But at the same time, people were starting to react to that, and they had the means to do it. So Facebook was coming into play, MySpace, the ability to do your blogs very easily on Blogger or other free or open blogging platforms. This was all coming together. And I wrote that primarily as a publisher, but then also reacting to what other people were publishing. And so we've got this great wealth of information that people do on their own about the issues that they're passionate about the businesses that drive their own well-being and careers, and they're responding and they're providing very valuable insights. And this has now moved from, I suppose, niche types of activities to being pervasive. People are doing this with sporting events. They're doing it with how they buy products when they go on vacation. People are posting photos on Instagram and other platforms regularly. This is all coming together at just the right time, just as the technologies are able to weave and sift and tease out inferences from that wealth of information. The wealth of information is accelerating. There's almost this virtuous cycle of the more value you can get from information, the more information you'll put into place, and so on and so forth. And that's where we are now. So indeed, these companies are not only looking to understand their own systems and traditional legacy types of information, they're also now sifting through and able to mine with, of course, privacy and security issues also very top of mind, more insight into their markets. And they can better serve their customers, be they individuals or other businesses, that is to say B2C or B2B, far better than they could at an acceptable price. It's really a very exciting time.
Well, in your distribution of this content, you really cover the waterfront. I know that you have audio podcasts, you've done some video, but this is actually more integrated into other forms of distribution. How did you arrive at that strategy? Did you have that right from the beginning?
Well, fairly early, I recognized, Andy, that I could create content, combine the role of industry analyst with moderator and interviewer, because I was in the press, in the media for quite a while before I became an analyst. So I'm very happy to be on the other side of the camera, interviewing as well as talking. And I took those out to this opportunity to create and distribute and publish cheaply and easily. But then I saw, I'm not in the advertising business. The goal of just getting more page views didn't appeal to me. I want to really try to match the right information and insights with those in the right need to know on niche areas, enterprise software infrastructure. So rather than create my own site where I tried to get as much traffic as possible and then monetize around advertising, I said to myself, why not let the other people get the advertising dollars? I'll just focus on creating good content and getting people to support that. And then I'll distribute this to those people that feel that it's a right fit for their audience. So yeah, I have some great media partners and distribute through ZDNet, as well as my own personal blog and e-commerce Times and itdirector.com. And we've got the HP community and the Connect community as well, picking up our content. VMware publishes it in some ways, and many of the other people that I work with are taking the content because they need to prime the pump for interest, and they recognize that there's really, unfortunately, not enough content on these subjects, on the enterprise software and infrastructure and the enterprise legacy transition to a modern organization. So yeah, I'd rather not be in the advertising business. I'd rather be focusing on the analysis, getting great guests, going and talking to the actual users and getting their story. There's nothing more valuable than learning from someone's actual pragmatic day in, day out use of these technologies in order to understand their value. All of that has come together and has allowed me to do a lot of publishing and then get in front of a lot of people with it.
Well, one phrase that stood out in the middle of all that was making sure you get good guests. And in fact, I've had a great one here this morning. Dana, where can people go for more information? How do they follow you on Twitter? And what's the blog recommendation that first comes to mind?
Sure, thanks. Yeah, you can follow me on Twitter at Dana_Gardner. Very straightforward. Google search of my name will also put you to my LinkedIn profile if you want to learn some more. Interarbor Solutions is my company. There's a website. But primarily, I'm focusing on the BriefingsDirect brand, and there's BriefingsDirect podcasts available from 2005 on at www.briefingsdirect.com. And my probably most trafficked blog is on ZDNet. So you can find me there, as well as on Blogger, and as I say, across the syndication network, all around the BriefingsDirect brand.
Okay, well, thanks very much for joining us here today, and I certainly look forward to our next chance to talk. This is Andy McCaskey at SDR News. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.